Simon, we had an excruciatingly bad earnings report from Samsung today. What happened?
I think excruciatingly bad might be slightly unfair in that it was excruciatingly worse than analysts' expectations. So the operating profit for the fourth quarter came in at 8.3 trillion won. Analysts had been projecting more than 10 trillion. So this was the first profit.
Yes. 20% miss.
Yes.
What happened?
And so it was 18% lower than the previous year. The shares didn't fall by that much, interestingly, even though this was the first profit decline for quite some time. Shares only fell by 0.2%, but they had fallen by 9.6% during maybe a couple of weeks since Christmas Eve.
What was the problem?
Why did the shares
why did the
profit fall?
Yeah.
Well, there are various things. For one thing, there was a bonus payout of several $100 million to workers, and this clearly contributed. The won has been strong in the period, and that contributed as well. I think analysts are estimating several $100 million. So that accounts for part of it, but not all of it. So I think many people will be looking at these results and saying, well, clearly there should be some concern about sales of smartphones, which contribute, at the last count, about 2/3 of Samsung's operating profit, and thinking that there must have been some undershoot there as well.
Right. I'm struck by the special bonus played out to employees. This is not something you'd be surprised by in this way by a Western company. These things are usually heavily telegraphed by, say, American or UK companies. Is this something we would expect from a Korean company?
Samsung has a very strong and very unique corporate culture. The role of the chairman is very important, and there's a sense that this is one big family, a pyramid with the chairman at the top. The chairman, to mark the new year, gave a major address in which he emphasized the need to maintain this sense of perpetual crisis and to launch a new strategy for the company. And the bonus, I think, was given to mark this. And so it just reflects this very different culture, which to some investors is not very welcome, particularly given that the company's dividend payout is very, very low and has been for some time.
So can investors hope to be included in this great pyramid as well? Is it realistic to expect an increase in the dividend payout?
When I speak to investors about Samsung, this is the number one thing that they moan about, is the miserly dividend yield. So dividend yield was about 0.6% of the average share price in 2012. And when Samsung had their big analyst conference in November last year, they promised, this was the major subject of conversation in the run-up to it, and the company responded by promising an increase in the dividend payout, but only a very small one, so a dividend yield for the year of 1%. I think perhaps the company, for one thing, doesn't like the idea of giving away its precious cash to these external investors who will just go and use it for something else. There's a sense that that would somehow weaken the company and make it smaller. But also, if the company starts giving out cash in a much bigger way, it sort of seems to validate these theories that we're hearing more and more of now, that this is a sort of ex-growth company, this is no longer a fast-growing company, and that's not what they want to be.
So no big increase in dividend coming up?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Thank you very much.